Hi everyone, I'm just recording the servicing that I'm going to be doing on this amp. I just got it from somebody online and it's got a lot of scratchy knobs. So this is the model number and stuff there. I currently have its output hooked up to that oscilloscope, and on top I've got a function generator putting out a 1 volt 100 hertz square wave. Here, I'm gonna see if I can... Yeah, that thing on the scope is kind of annoying, the way it's flashing. So, I'll turn the amp up a bit. I've already cleaned the volume knob, so it functions perfectly again. It used to be very scratchy. Yeah, that's the square wave. And if you look on the scope, it's kind of annoying, actually. It's not actually flashing like that for me. I'm going to see if I can change the frequency to something that maybe isn't quite as flashy. Let's see. So go to the... Okay, so go up, go to frequency. Actually, first I'm going to turn the scope to something that doesn't flash. Let's see. Actually, I'm just going to set it to ground so I can look at just the line itself. That's... Oh, there we go. There's a nice... Well, unfortunately... I mean, that's... Okay, I guess. Now turn it back on. And that means I'm literally going to have to change the frequency to something that's... Yeah, that's quite a pain, actually. Oh, dang it, what did I just do? Let's see, what did I... Oh, cancel. I don't know what I... Okay, whatever. I guess I'm going to have to set it to a frequency that it actually... That's kind of annoying. Here, let's turn it back to this again. Turn this output off, and I guess I'm going to have to turn it to a frequency that flashes. Now that looks better. Now turn the output back on. And then now change the frequency so the frequency matches. That's pretty good. Oh, what do you know? It's almost exactly 60 hertz. So let's turn that up a bit. Yeah, that looks nice. Okay. So that's supposed to be a square wave, but I'm not sure if you can tell that the top and the bottom are slanting toward the center, and that's caused by the high-pass filter in the amp. Whenever you put a square wave into an amp, especially lower frequencies, you'll start to see that. And that's just the high-pass filter and the coupling capacitors. If you want lower frequencies with a more perfect square, you can take all of the coupling capacitors and make them bigger. But honestly, usually you wouldn't really hear much of a difference. Oh, what just happened? Oh, whatever. So I'm going to turn the volume up and down, and you can see that it nicely, there's no glitching, it just changes its amplitude quite nicely. So it's nice and smooth movement, so turning it up, it moves smoothly, and you don't see any flickering or fluttering. But let's see what happens when I press the select switch. Yeah, already. Moving the select switch, you can see that glitching there. That is a scratchy switch. Oh, look at that. Wow, that's really malfunctioning. That seems to have recovered. Oh, nope. So what I was doing there was just, I was just jiggling the input select switch. And that causes glitchy, annoying stuff to happen. Now the next switch I'm going to mess around with is that tone switch there. And I'll see if that one does it too. It's okay. It's nowhere near as bad. So to fix that auxiliary switch there, I use this contact cleaner stuff. So the back side of that switch is, which one was it? That one right there. Switch 3, it says. So what I'll do is I'll squirt the stuff or spray the stuff into this hole here, and it should. That's so hard doing this single-handed. And then I'm going to rapidly mess around with the switches. So it sounds better. Now if I do the same thing I did before on the scope... my phone's glitching again. As I'm now jiggling it, and it's no longer glitching. So if I turn it to that, it's off. Turn it to this, it's on. And it functions flawlessly now. So just because I'm sure that those other two, the tuner and the phono switch, also have the same problem, I'm going to do the exact same thing to those switches. So go to the back. Spray the stuff in here. Spray the stuff in here. And do the exact same thing again. Just randomly press them so that the cleaner stuff works its way into every switch. And now, because that worked on the auxiliary switch, I'm going to assume that it worked on the other two. So as you can see, the volume still works fine. Jiggling that switch doesn't cause anything. And now the next switch that I'm going to focus on is the tone and off and on switches, so the equalizer. So I'll do the same thing, I'll jiggle that around and see if it glitches. Oh, I hate when my phone does that. Meh, it's not that bad. I mean, it could be better. So I'm going to do the exact same cleaning process on these 4 switches now. Now there's wires in the way, just a second. And if you see, these are the 3 switches I cleaned. And these are those 4 switches. So you'll notice that they're exactly the same. So I am going to do the identical thing to all 4 of them. Sorry, my phone's just moving around a lot. And then now that it's in, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to mess around with all the switches. And once again, I'm just going to assume that that fixed the problem. So now, playing around with this switch, it looks like it works perfectly. Now I'm going to start playing with the equalizer, and we'll see what happens. So, as I said, I believe that's still a 100... Or no, actually, I think that's 61 hertz, actually. And it's still a square wave, so I'm going to The first frequency thing is actually, oddly enough, 60 hertz. So when I boost that... Oh, wait, I'm going to turn the volume down a bit. And if I boost that, that square wave is going to become a little bit more like a sine wave. So let's do that now. Let's start increasing it. Yeah, it's glitching too. So as you can see, that frequency is being boosted. Now let's move it up and down and see how it behaves. Once again, it's glitchy. It's very, very glitchy. Yeah, it's glitching all over the place. So, once again, take this contact cleaner and spray it directly into these potentiometers. I'm just going to do it to all of them. Sorry if my camera's moving around. I'm actually holding my phone in one hand and doing this in the other. Whoops. That was a bit messier than I was expecting. And now, just like all the other things, move them around a whole bunch. When a lot of these amps were built, there was lubricant put on all of these things, and because this thing is probably 30 or something years old, that lubricant has turned into a crust. And that crust basically hardens and creates dead spots. So the contact cleaner stuff moistens it and breaks up the crust, and then rubbing it back and forth, these brushes will, inside the potentiometers, will just clean away whatever's left. Okay, so move them back into the middle. So I'm going to do the same thing, turn up the 60 hertz. Look at that, nice and clean. Okay, now I'm going to do it with the next one. It's nice and even behaving. Then I'm going to go up another frequency. Again, nice and even. Yeah, so everything on here should be cleaned and working properly. Oh, there's one thing I forgot. This headphone jack is, I'm not sure, you can't really see it, but it's aiming in an upward direction slightly. So I'm going to see what happened there. So there's the power switch. Great. The headphone jack thing is way down in between there. So I'm going to try to put my finger in here and see if I can move it. Oh, what the heck? My phone's doing something weird. Ow! Guess that's what happens when I stick my hand by those power lines. Just got zapped. I'm not too worried about it. I've been shocked by 120 volts a lot, so I'm not too concerned. Okay, so that jack is now positioned correctly, but I'm wondering if it's just going to pop out again as soon as something's plugged into it. Oh, I guess that's something. These switches are also glitchy. So if I jiggle the speaker switch, again, you see that glitchy, intermittent behavior. Oh, look at that. It's gone super quiet, and you'll notice that high frequency pulse on the up, or on the square wave. And let's see what kind of switches those are. Again, they're the exact same switches, so hold on a second and I'm just going to do those. Okay, I'm just going to spray it. Ugh, these things are difficult to access. And I'm going to, once again, push them in and out a bunch of times. Okay, so let's see if that works properly now. Nope, it still didn't help. It's still doing it. So let me try that again. Try spraying the stuff in again. It's still not working. This one may be more problematic. As you can see, after all my effort, it's not fixing. It's still doing that problem. So the next step is going to be much more frustrating. I'm not sure if I'm even going to bother doing this right now. But this board here is going to have to come out. The switches are going to have to be desoldered from the board. So you can see those 6 there right in the middle of the screen and the 6 down there. Those are going to have, the circuit board needs to come out. Those switches have to be removed from the board. They have to be taken apart and their contacts need to be scraped. Not something I enjoy doing, but it will make the switches function like new again. But that's for another time. I'm not going to do that now. It's a lot more trouble than it's worth, and right now I've got pretty much everything else functioning correctly. So, you know what I could do? I could take this STK IC out of here. And STK power amplifiers are actually interchangeable. So what I could literally do is I could take that out of here, put in bigger output capacitor, or those are, I think those are bypass capacitors, I believe. Put in larger capacitors than this. Put in a larger transformer that has a larger output voltage. And actually make this amp much more powerful than it was designed to be. I mean, that'd be cool, but again, I'm not going to do that right now. Let's take a look at the high pass effect from this. As you can see, you can, whoops, bump the volume. As you can see how it's on the top it's slanting down, on the bottom it's slanting up? That's literally the high pass bypass capacitors in all of the different amplifier sections. Here, let's make it a little more dramatic. Yeah, so you can see the top and oh, I keep bumping that. The top and the bottom you can see are slanted. Now let's try something. I'm going to see if I can make it a lot more dramatic. To do that, I'm going to have to turn the frequency down. Oh, what? Okay. I'm not sure if you can... Oh, that looks horrid. Yeah. You can kind of see it. It almost comes all the way down into the middle there. Here, let me do that thing to adjust the Yeah, this thing is not liking this at all. Now, let's see if that's easier to view. Not at all. Jeez, why do I keep doing that? Okay, so I need to access this row. Oh yeah, look at that. It comes all the way back to the middle. Looks nothing like a square now. Oh my gosh, I wish I would quit doing that. Man, I wish you guys could see this better. This looks horrible through my phone. I mean, that's probably... Oops. Put my hand in the way accidentally. I mean, if you look long enough, you can kind of see it. That roll-off that you see is also the amplifier's low-frequency response. At a certain frequency, the amp will start to... Here, what if I put a sine wave? Let's see. It still looks horrid. But if you can see the sine wave there... Or I'm going to try something. Might be easier to, visualize using this method. If I turn that... Oh, sorry. If I turn that frequency down... so frequency... If I turn that down... Or like if I turn it up, you'll notice that it's about that high. As soon as I turn that down, it's going to start to get shorter. So here you can see the frequency on the top. It's still pretty decent. That's 14 hertz. Five hertz. Wow, I'm actually pretty impressed. Even at 3 hertz, it's still... But yeah, now look at it, 1 hertz. It's barely moving now. And that is literally because I'm way below the frequency that the amp starts to attenuate at. What happens if I try to do a square wave? Yeah, it completely drops. Get pulled right into the middle every time. Let's turn this back to wave mode. Yeah, you really can't see much there. Variable sweep. Oh wow, it's kind of... It's actually overshooting a little bit. That's interesting. Let's turn the frequency back up. But the higher you go in frequency, the more square it's going to start to look. Here, let me... So you'll notice now it's starting to look a lot more square. Now let's turn the frequency up even more. What? Oh, I must have turned something weird. But as you can see, that dropping is much smaller now. You almost can't even see it at this frequency. One way that you can start to test the amplifier's high-frequency response is turning the frequency super high, and you'll notice the vertical sections of the wave are starting to become visible. So again, I want to go to frequency. I'm just gonna disconnect the speaker because that's kind of annoying. If I can actually... Okay. I guess I can just do that. Couple to channel 1. There we go. Now you can see how much easier it is to see that high, the vertical sections. Those vertical sections are going to become more and more visible as I continue to turn the frequency up. Yeah, I'm getting right close to the amp's limits. So right there, you can already see that the higher frequencies are starting to be attenuated. And this is at what, 12.3 kilohertz? Yeah, it doesn't. It's now the high frequencies are being limited. But I mean, this is 43 kilohertz. It really doesn't matter so much at these frequencies. I'm actually going to see how high I can go before the amplitude starts to drop. Gonna turn the amplitude up. Ugh, that's not even balanced. I'm going to make that a little bit more even. It's a lot easier to view it in this way. So 23 kilohertz, I'm gonna go up to 30. See, it just got smaller. I'm gonna go to 40. And it got even smaller. Now let's do something crazy. Let's go up to... This is 100 kilohertz, and this amp is still doing an okay job. Let's keep going up. Yeah, I'm at 160 kilohertz, and it's only half the amplitude that I had initially. But as I go higher, 300 kilohertz, you can see how much smaller it is. 400, 500, and you can see there's pretty much nothing. I'm actually at 1 megahertz now, and this amp doesn't do a thing at those frequencies. What if I turn this on? Okay, so now I'm at 200 kilohertz. And I'm back on a square wave, but you'll notice that the square wave looks pretty much like a sine wave. So if I turn this down, it'll start to look more and more like a square wave. Actually, it looks like a triangle wave now. But not only is it starting to get bigger, it's also starting to change its shape. And as I continue to do this, you're going to see it become more and more like a square wave and not sawtooth wave. Yeah, see there, it's... So this is a great way to test the amplifier's frequency response. It's actually kind of interesting because you can test this equalizer's frequencies as well using the same method. And you'll notice that these, as you can see, the frequencies of the equalizers are set to those frequencies. And if you wanted to change those values to any frequency you wanted, you could literally just change the 2 capacitors inside the equalizer. But everything's working now, so I guess that's gonna be it for now. So, see you later at some point.